Yeah. So, hello everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. It's Jody Rambles back once again. I'm doing this stream at 12:19, December 25th. It's lit. I use my mic that I use to make music. Record myself trying to do better audio quality. Hopefully it's slightly better. Um, it's late. The audience I'm expecting to attract. Nobody really. Hello, how y'all doing? Happy holidays to anybody coming through. I'm gonna do a late night uh holiday thing. I'm gonna go over some of the videos I saved on TikToks. We're gonna discuss a few things. I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the racial dynamics of the Jonathan Majors case. um, I want to touch a little bit on the Simone Biles thing, and just a few TikToks I came across. I think it's mostly I want to say a loosely based racial discussion topic today. I'm not exactly sure. I got my white cheddar cheese crackers here. I got some tea I poured into a Burger King cup. I'm ready. I'm ready for war or whatever's going on. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna get to it. Shout out to anybody who comes through. If you do come through, feel free to leave a chat. I'm a new YouTuber, Jody Rambles, as you see, using my music mic. Yeah. I'm improving every day. The audio in my last one, horrible. But now we try something else. So I'm gonna do a little bit of gameplay. I don't know. Anyway, guys. Anyway, so we're gonna go proper split screen. This split screen. And side by side. We're gonna do this one on that side. And then we're gonna do everything we need to do. So I saved a few. Which one do I want to start with? We're gonna start Simone Biles just real quick. So I know y'all have already seen this one.
All right, the question on everybody's mind: how did you pull Simone Biles? Yeah, do you think I know? I mean, if I lucky, I bought 5 lottery tickets.
All right, so that person is Christian Divine on TikTok. You can see it in the corner here. If my mouse captured on. Yeah, who do love most of his content. Him, Yuval, a few other people. So the reason I'm starting with this is because for those who don't know too much about the Simone Biles thing, and believe me, I don't really know because I'm just kind of talking. Jody Rambles, my whole thing. Basically, her boyfriend, husband, fiance, whatever the dude is, who I guess Simone Biles' husband. That's how he's trending. Got in an interview on a podcast, and he was kind of doing a bit much. So I ended up having this conversation with my girl loosely because my biggest thing, and this is kind of my main point, I guess, of today's Jody Rambles session, is basically I get tired of the discourse that we have online. Not that like I think I'm super smart with it or that there's a whole new level of discourse that we should be having, but people really just take debate on like the reason Christian Rock and Blueface pop and all these like bad things pop is because people take the most generic trending like conversation topics and that shit kills me. I'm not gonna hold you. And I was mostly seeing everybody react to Simone's Biles' husband basically doing a bit much, gassing it up. And from what I heard, he basically kind of handled it the worst way possible. And I think the cool discourse, because me, is basically my girl, the way she put it, that some people like the generic conversation. You know what I'm saying? Some people, the same people who like under your long think piece post, go like, I'm not reading all of that. Some people would just have that mindset to be like, hey, I'm just looking at content saying thumbs up, thumbs down, quick joke, body shame, blah 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 blah, and then keep it pushing. And some people, which I was describing to my girl, like it's not like they're overthinking the whole thing. Like some people really, when they see a situation, their mind is just picking up on everything or they're creating their own reality of the situation that's going on. People see things happen differently all the time, like in real motion, like in real life. You'll just be sitting there, and then for some reason, you'll just be like, hmm. Y'all both will be looking at the same thing, and for some reason, no reason at all, you're watching it, you're looking at body language, you're creating a narrative in your head. The same person just saw the same thing. It was like, oh, she's wearing brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, you two are on two different pages, and it is what it is. If the sound quality is bad, let me know. Just double checking. I can turn up my focus right. Um, so yeah, but I'm like, so I was telling her like that's true, but like for me, the content creators I like, the things I like to check out and to see, me personally, it's like I like the FT signifiers. I like these the YouTubers I follow do these like deep dives and breakdowns on on things that they see, things that they're like into. Shout out to the one in the building. You know what I'm saying? It was two. No, they couldn't all be like you. And um, I always dedicate my show to one person. So the person who stays the longest, the show's dedicated. Um, Stream. I'm calling that show like it's gonna rerun. I put it on YouTube on the Jody Rambles as well. It's a different thing. But yeah, like so I started thinking like the conversation that's going on, it's like, yeah, he's being a dick. Like we can get that out the way. But there's a part of me that's like, is it so bad that someone feels gassed up? Someone that we are all referring to as Simone Biles' husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I like can that person not handle that situation wrong? We not a judgment because no one wants to talk about. I'm not gonna say no one like I'm being so profound, but people rarely talk about like the same way people do. They're making fun of people online, and that person like you know continues to not exist no more. And then people go, yeah, we gotta talk about mental health, dog. Really gotta talk about mental health. And it's like the same way that happens. I think people do things and say things and then aren't are so completely caught off guard or seemingly caught off guard by the way people just naturally act or react, so to say. So I'm like, we're actively calling somebody Simone Biles' husband, and that person is supposed to be a professional athlete. I'm not even offending him. Like I think he did the job wrong, but that person when he gets an interview and he's gassing himself up, I'm prepared for the like the fumble. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what this TikTok is about. Again, shout out to the creator, Christian Divine. It's like, yeah, of course, the best answer is, and what I would always do is put my partner in the place of like appraisal, and you know, I believe you don't have to put your bad business out there, and when you do it, you should do it like the way because I'm semi-private in life, the way I put out information, either I make sure there's a wall. So like the information I might give to somebody about a partner or someone in my life is so sparse and like it basically is like a wall. So they would never really actually get to know this person. I'm going, yeah, I was hanging out with my mans and I can't lie, blah blah blah. The what they know and what my mans really be doing and how they really live in their life will barely ever cross paths. Therefore, the separation. So there's a world where like he can talk about his life with her without breaking the facade. Was that loud? That felt like anyway, without breaking the facade or breaking boundaries in a relationship. Like he can easily be like gas himself up without looking like he's putting her down and without maybe which I'm guessing the way people are taking from this, they're acting like they're seeing the cracks in a relationship that they don't really know. And for the internet, that's all the fire they need because the same people who actively drag their partners or whatever on Twitter, Instagram, Reels are the same people who go, can't. That's why you can't date people who don't make as much money as you. They do you dirty. And it's like you internet people, us, we have all been doing him dirty in general. Maybe this is a weird reaction. And ironically, this conversation all really came because my girl was watching 90 Day Fiance, a show I truly hate. Um, Mostly because I think it's sad. Like if reality TV shows are sad in general, I think 90 Day Fiance other way, this way, that way, which way, left, right, up, down, combo, down, down, square, right, cheat code, Grand Theft Auto, unlimited ammo. Anyway, if that that show, it's disgusting to me. I feel like it's so forced, and it was like a reunion episode or something, and everybody's talking shit about the other person's relationship, but this whole dynamic of this whole series is people that leave. Well, different ones do different things. They leave the comfort of their home, chase someone in a whole completely different country. Which, don't get me wrong, love can be found abroad and blah blah blah. But the act of choosing to go like it's not here in Kentucky, and then going to Slavia, like I find that to be so weird, and I do judge those people. I'm not gonna lie to you, only because I think it's like, first of all, there's always like an old white lady with plastic surgery, and then there's always an old white lady without the plastic surgery who looks like okay, who should get the surgery anyway. There's always that, and then there's always like some black guy, African or brown, something something, who was like showing this person way too much love, and it's like this is the screaming green card. It's in it. Yeah, I'm not trying to be that guy, but if you know, you know. Again, sex tourism slash passport broing, passport sistering, whatever it is. Do your due diligence as long as you're doing it with consent and you're not being weird about it. You know what I'm saying? But this conversation all started because I'm watching these people all kick down on. And again, shout out to the number one building. You're a star. Everything you want in life is yours. I want you to know that. Unless you're a serial. Am I? You can achieve what you want in this life. And also happy holidays. My target audience for this are people who don't feel like watching their kids' presents. They're still up, and also use Twitch and or YouTube. When it's on YouTube, my target audience is anybody. Actually, I'm gonna be a little bit of an asshole. My target audience is ohmeezy. I'll put you in the thing again. My target audience is some of the people that like your stuff, some of the people that like FT signifier stuff, some of the people that like waving the red. Yeah, I'm trying to find like a smorgasbord of random people to, to see what I be rambling about and hop in my chat and call me stupid. Also, Sean C. It's part of my target audience is Sean C. But I think there's levels. I got to like, it's like boxing. You know what I'm saying? I got to try to slowly earn a title, and I need to get these bouts in. You know what I'm saying? See who really bout it. Bars. Mic drop. Shout out to the one in the building. The realest one ever. Again, don't be a bad person if you are. Just be the great person I know you to be deep down in your heart. So basically, again, long story short, as I ramble away, I just don't like how we do a very generic discourse on certain things. I think the story about Simone's about husband, I'm not saying like it's not deep enough. I'm not on that Jaden Smith thing when he's like, "What are we talking about, bro?" I'm not on that. I'm saying like, the judgment of another person's relationship is like the bare bones of what we're going to do online. The thing I think I'm mostly interested in, if you ask me, is what does it look like to support a partner who makes more than you, or what does it look like when you call somebody so and so's husband, and then you allow that dynamic to eventually get to you. I'm not saying it has. I like simple things. I'm not saying everything has to be that. I'm literally saying that if we're gonna have a discourse about it, I'm gonna let the father discourse go because that's how it goes. I love good joke. I love the regular shit, but and basically, eventually, I do want to see a little bit of a discussion. And with that being said, actually, if I go back to I just missed to put it on. That song sounds so horrible. I'll hold you. Now that I mentioned ohmeezy, and again, I'm kind of on a semi mission to like. That's a small sweater. I'ma come on, niggas. No, bro, turn down. I'm on a mission to eventually try to collab with him. The reason I'm talking about ohmeezy right now, he did something with his brother. You know, Legend of Winning is his brother, and they're like, they both do a little bit of social commentary every so often. But most of their stuff is kind of separate. Lowe's is known for his basketball takes. You know, doing his own thing on the channel, also working with playback and sometimes popping up on PC. Shout out PC. Shout out, shout out Damo too. Shout out, I actually want to get in the realm of entertain and like going, "What's up, Damo? Yeah, you know, Damo, you do you, I do me, blah 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 blah." You know what I'm saying? The trials and tribulation of becoming a streamer. Um, this actually brings me to the Jonathan Major thing. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to keep notes, trying to stay on topics as I ramble away on this Christmas morning. For your kids or loved ones, open gifts that they low key knew they had coming to them. And if you don't have to give the gift to anybody, give the gift of your love and your presence. Because ultimately, capitalism is slowly eating away at the world that we know here in America. And as the system slowly rises for the great fall that it is off the cliff that we know as society. I've said society multiple times, like the Joker. Um, live in a society. Um, you know what I'm saying? Get deep. Um, that it's okay that you couldn't buy that gift. Because ultimately, people don't really need gifts, and sometimes it's good to teach kids they don't need gifts. But in that, um, so ohmeezy again, clout chasing. You got me. Um, was talking to his brother about episode of Playback that they had talking about Jonathan Majors, and he talked about something I like a lot, something I'm very big on, and we just kind of touched on with the last thing we did, the Simone Biles thing, is what are we talking about and what type of discourse that we're having, and are we adding to the ignorance of discourse, which is, there's already enough of it. I guess that's my point. Like, are we adding to the best? So he had talked to his brother about an episode they did about Jonathan Majors and the verdict that came through, and it seemed to basically be about the fact that whether his brother knew it or not, they had a I don't want to call it like misogynistic. Is it like misogyny noir? Like it's like from the guys that they took, the guys Ise that they took. It's I don't even know spelling words, acting like I know the stance that they took as far as the verdict. It was almost like you can't win. And to be honest, when it comes to Jonathan Majors, um, like the last episode, the last stream I did, we looked at waving the red flag, and Alvin from that show had said that basically you shouldn't want Jonathan Majors to be, excuse me, to be innocent. And what he meant by that wasn't that like doom him, but it's like in the perfect world, I would hope that no one would call out abuse or needing to have the term abuse and the police to look into investigate abuse without it really being real. So it's like I shouldn't want him to be innocent because theoretically I shouldn't want this situation to happen at all. If that makes sense, like I'm not gonna wish because it's almost like someone being arrested for like you know can I say red rum on here like red rum I don't know. Basically it's like you don't want to have to yell free so and so shouldn't have to be wrongfully imprisoned. I would hope that when so and so is imprisoned, it's because so and so did so and so do because so and so. Why they say I don't want to. Um, again, shout out to you, number one. But even when 5 people come, 2 people, zero. If you have to leave, that I like to live. That for 19 minutes, seconds, best thing out. Um, so basically, when I looked at the Jonathan Major situation, I really liked him as an upcoming actor. Skill set is like fire. I think on Lovecraft Country, like I don't know who exactly he was coming into Lovecraft Country. I know he did like Last Black Man in San Francisco or something like that. I didn't see that movie, but I want to see that movie. But you know, I think Guy's name, the guy from Atlanta that's also was in that movie. Come to me, Lawrence. Judas in the back beside that guy. I know his name. It will come to me. Um, I think that guy is a great actor too, right? So I think in a world where, um, uh, I think in the world, Lakeith Stanfield. See, I really caught it right before I texted. I know people want to think I looked it up and I saw it, but really, when they say the trick is to like low key forget what you're trying to look for, and it'll come to you naturally. Lakeith Stanfield. I think Lakeith Stanfield is a really dope actor, right? So in my head, if another actor leaves a movie with Lakeith Stanfield and they get praise, that person's a dope actor. So like, um, Daniel Coulier. How do you say his last name? You look at me, just messing up everything. Daniel Kaluuya. No, Daniel Kaluuya is someone else. Daniel Kaluuya. F. Kaluuya. So Daniel Kaluuya did the movie with Lakeith, and then not just talking about Lakeith, and well, we already know Daniel Kaluuya is better. Not, I don't know if he's better. I think he's better. But you would know. You know what I'm saying? So when Jonathan Majors popped out, I'm like, he gotta be dope. I'm watching Lovecraft Country. Journey Smollett, uh, my man, uh, what is his? I'm just forgetting everybody's name. That's why you don't do streaming at 12:40 in the morning. Cause now you just start getting racist. I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't hear you. Lovecraft Country. My man who played Omar, but I'm trying to do him justice because he passed and he rests in peace. Michael K. Williams. They really put his middle name. Say that. Michael K. Williams. You know what I'm saying? That Lovecraft Country was full of like strong actors. The lady that played Journey Smollett sister, she's doing like a bunch of stuff. Like people are popping because of that movie. She's in Color Purple, I think. Right? The play Broadway movie Broadway play movie. You know what I'm saying? It's like Inception. So I'm really just be talking, bro. But at least I can say that my content's original. I'm always talking. And number one, if you can, chat. You know why? I just want to know how you living. Um, and sometimes I wonder if this is a bot, but who knows? Not you though. And bot in the blue sky. But anyway, my point was, I was watching Lovecraft Country, absolutely killed. Right? I'm like, this guy's dope. Um, he does Creed 3. He does something else. But I'm watching Creed 3. I'm like, it's real. The Jonathan Majors hype is real. But the only thing I'm scared of is people have high rises at scary falls. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had a feeling. So when this case came out, there's a part of me like I just wanted to be that thing that low key. I'm not gonna lie. Black people really rely on the whole like they try and take us out because mind you, they do be trying to take us out, but we be like so pressed to use they trying to take us out. We don't even be looking at the we don't even look at the evidence because people were like, it's not even real, dog, and they trying to take us out. You know, and he was like, no, bro. Sometimes, sometimes it's the natural lay of the law, law of the land. I don't know. So I know in my rambles I'm like all over the place, and that's kind of like the journey of being right. Like you just, you shift through my thoughts, like shift through sand, dirt, and stuff to find a diamond. Free Congo, free Sierra Leone. Congo's looking for cobalt. Might be looking for diamonds there too. Free them, free Palestine. Um, my point in all of it that comes together is basically where it ties together is I did want to root for Jonathan Majors. You know what I'm saying? And I personally think the thing to look at and investigate is more so like how because mind you in his case she didn't press charges. The city slash state of New York press charges or whatever way they did it, and I think the the element that you want to look for is the system against a person. That is the the discourse that we should be having. Like, what made the city of New York press charges? Now, this mostly because they apparently in New York they have a law about like if there's any case of domestic violence that it immediately gets handled, someone goes to jail, and it's kind of like a lot of laws aren't really good just to be good. So it's kind of like one of those things where they actually made the law so people would double take calling the police because like most people who are in abusive relationships don't really want to see their partner be handed the consequences of being in an abusive relationship. And for all those who are suffering through an abusive relationship, I stand with you, and I hope that you find courage to leave the situation possible if it allows you to, and to find and seek help and shelter somewhere else. It's not necessarily easy. I know that there's multiple forms of abuse, verbal or physical, and maybe even spiritual. I think there's a lot of spiritual abuse. If we're gonna be honest, how people use certain religions and certain uh, things to control other people. That's a different conversation we should have. And if you you were in the chat in the stream, here to ever hear that, got you, man. You know what I'm saying? Just like um So as I'm saying, that's where I think the part of me wants to not even root, but that's like the discussion I'm willing to have. But at some point, we have to also not be as biased or not exactly look past what we think is going on to the reality. And that's I think the problem I have. Sometimes I think people are either looking too deep or they're not looking deep enough. And there's a part of it that's like, okay, these text messages that they show, the energy, the Hollywood reports of him being kind of like an asshole on set. Like even if I don't want to take everybody for their word at it, there's a pattern where I'm starting to notice that I don't think that this guy's as innocent, least to say. You know what I'm saying? Like I might say kind, but I don't really care if someone's kind or not. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't really care that necessarily. Well, I do care that people, but sometimes people aren't nice, but they're kind. And since I think I'm kind, but not necessarily always nice, I can be very rude to people, but I try not to do bad things, and I tend to give people the good looks, but don't expect extra conversation out of me. Ironically, right? Or expect whatever. So in that, um, that's what I want. So when I'm watching people just go, she was wrong as a man in this country. You're wrong the moment you do X Y Z, and believe me, I know a lot of women and girls do things that trigger like these back and forths. As a man, you can't win, and it sounds like an asshole if you go, "Hey, well, maybe you shouldn't have dated that person in the first place." Yada 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 yada. Because should be told, people get in relationships with people all the time, whether it suits them right or wrong. Because some relationships you'll fire. Sometimes you're in a mental place where you craving attention or support or love in a way that you may not even understand that isn't proper for you, and there's a myriad of ways how people end up in situations like that. So because in my personal opinion, I think it was a very toxic relationship where both of them played their part, mostly because I get this sense that she had a lot of habits of maybe drinking and coming home and then being fussy and blah blah blah, and he had a lot of habits of trying to control and set an example, setting a tone, and using his physical prowess or whatever to dominate her and to try to force her to be the representation that he wanted to see of himself. Because if it's true that he went to Yale and that picture with him looking all scrawny, these are things. There says something about a guy who dressed old timey black and is well educated and dates white women that they're probably missing certain perspective, but maybe like they see the attributes of black and the good great qualities of black. They don't see it or necessarily chase it in a way that when you're naturally black, not to say Jonathan Majors isn't black, but when it's like very natural, things come of it. As a black man, I naturally find myself around black women that I would choose to pursue, and I naturally find myself craving black love and and supporting and caring about black ideology because it's very natural now. Maybe it's because my upbringing, my parents, and blah blah blah. But sometimes it's really just like that's what I surround myself with. And some people who find themselves feeling like the outsider. Believe me, I'm like a slight alt black boy. I really thought at some point I was supposed to go to BWI and do XYZ, but I realized how much I love my culture, my people, and that I love to be centered um in the love that naturally comes from people that look like me to me because of a sense of community. And everybody has their own sense of community. This isn't like just a pro black stream, even though I'm definitely pro black, my man. If you ain't realized now, it is with ETs, TTs with ETs. Um, it is what it is. What I'm saying fast in case of that somehow. I don't know. No one's watching. Except for you know you. Above all else, for the Big Bang, the only one. Anyway, so I'm I think I might play a little bit of his clip. Because, but I'm not really gonna react to. But basically, he wanted to press his brother about they feel like they was pushing out a wrong narrative and uh like are they adding to the ignorance of what's going on? Because as he stated, and I notice this sometimes in playback comment sections, there's like whether they tend to do it or not, there's this energy of red pill energy lingering in their comment section, and it makes no sense for them to potentially act as if they don't know it. And I used to watch a lot of playback. I kind of calmed down because it felt not forced, but sometimes you can tell when people have an obvious bias. So it leaks naturally into the the content that they make. You know, you'll be sitting there and you'll be like, something's off. And it happens. The whole time I barely drinking this juice, see, or eating my right cheese crackers. This is my diet plan. Talking, talking to you, number one. Things I would do. Anyway, so I'm gonna play a little.
I'm not saying.
Oh,
But if you're telling me that there's a possibility
this is
that
low
there's another way that you could
and
have got hurt, then
uneasy.
yeah. Especially when we don't even know what happened to the fucking her ear. Like Jesus Christ.
I don't personally think this is personally.
Uh-huh.
I think that we, as a general viewing public, misunderstand shadow of a doubt because no court case is gonna have 100,000 wows and cows and percent proof of pretty much anything unless there's like a all out confession, even an all out confession, but an all out confession, 100% video evidence where she's wearing the Ray-Ban
There's a
Meta
little
shades and she's
ASMR
recording the
going on right
video. Regular court cases aren't gonna have that. No court case is really gonna have that, except for the 1% of 1%. But so I think what you're tasked to do as a jury person is, hey, you're given these definitions.
All right. So you're gonna hear some of the conversation going on. One of the things I do like from this content is that these two brothers, and I'm gonna play a little bit earlier because I want you to get a sense, are able to have a conversation in a debate of disagreeing without being rude. Because I think there's too many podcasts and video form of entertainment that we digest, but people just for some reason just start yelling. Like for people forgetting, I say this as I basically just mumble a bunch of words. But it seems like people be forgetting how to talk because people just be yelling. Plus, where your comments at? Different? Different? I don't know. I don't be using YouTube or anything. I do act without getting disrespectful. Exactly, I agree. And I always put the devil's advocate in a situation. Also, I feel like this is another side note discourse. I feel like people be thinking people are taking the devil's advocate when people really just be like, are we considering everything going on? Like that's not even the devil's advocate. People really just be like, what's going on? So I'm gonna play a little earlier. Or let me see. Play here.
Things line here. Listen, based off of this one case. Hey, Omar from a different timeline here. Listen, I appreciate you guys for watching as much as this video you've already watched, although it's only been a minute. Listen, we're about to get into a more lengthier conversation, so I appreciate you for sticking along the ride if you do stick along the ride. But I just want to let you know that this is going to be longer. At the end of this segment that I have with my brother, I'm actually going to react to the playback video itself so you can see my gripes. I do apologize beforehand because I do think that this conversation is all over the place. We go from one topic matter to the other topic matter. I'm not gonna lie, I was confused, he was confused, and I didn't do the best job of moderating. But I do want to say my initial arguments were about the way that people talk about these cases and the verbiage that they use in these cases
Hold on.
and the responsibilities that they have there. I know that kind of gets lost and we kind of get back there on that track later on in the conversation. But, you know, just watch it with that in the back of your heads. We do start to talk about how we feel about what should have been taken into consideration. That is honestly not important to me. But without further ado, just watch the video. Thank you.
Off of this one case, no.
Okay. So do you acknowledge that that's what both of you all did in this conversation?
No.
You think you did something a little bit different?
I think this case is an example of repeated themes that are seen through people's lives.
Can you display the repeated themes in the video and in the content? Because the way that it came off was, this is the evidence, this is the proof right here.
This is just another example of it.
I think if we're having serious conversations, 'cause I think this is a more serious conversation, wouldn't it best suit you to talk?
So, my bad, I got up for a little bit because I'm trying to make sure my one viewer or anybody who watches this on YouTube, as I grow to become a better content creator or content talker, rambler, that I'm not just watching other people's content. I don't care to just sit here and react. So if I was gone a little longer than anticipated, I do apologize. Again, shout out to ohmeezy. Follow him on Twitch if you care to like what I do at all, know that I'm inspired by people like Sean C, Joe Button, a lot of deep dive analysis. But as far as streaming go, it's the podcasters and that energy, the let's keep it a buckers, the individuals and of I'm not gonna lie, I don't pay attention too much to the basketball side of it, but I like what Damo brings and I like what Omar brings. I like what Vsauce brings and Sage as well on a platform. But you know, I want to make sure I respect the boundaries of being a streamer. My goal is just to be honest and do what I do, which is talk a lot and find an audience doing it. So again, but from what was discussed, or his message to his chat, his people, his video was the overarching, like, I wanted to talk about that, and we kind of got like a little out of hand. So I'm gonna skip a little bit to the end, and I'm gonna watch him react to a reaction, and that might be corny. Then
That's essentially why you got. That's essentially it.
Wow, bro.
In the attempt of trying to remove himself from the situation and separate himself from Grace Jabari, they believe that he was acting too recklessly and did it in an aggressive manner, and that right there, it could lead to her being injured, and that's what they found him guilty. They didn't find him guilty on this concept that he was this abusive man that was bopping her. He did not find guilty on that. He wasn't found guilty that he was harassing her with the intent to injure her. He was not found guilty of that. He was simply found guilty because he did something that they deemed reckless that could have resulted in her being injured. Two things.
And I'm gonna keep watching this. I think that's a cap in the feather, or not a cap in the feather, but a talking point in the conversation that I'm about to have below. Okay. If you believe he wasn't a reckless man, they had the evidence that proved he wasn't a reckless man. He went on trial for being a reckless man and was proven not guilty to be a reckless man. I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. So like, again, so basically, like, he's just trying to make sure, like, what are we talking about here, and what are we pushing, the Jonathan Majors case? Because, like, as I said, me personally, in my hearts of hearts, there's like, nah, man, I want to see him play King, even though I think the man name is Yahya. What's his name? Yahya Abdul Martin the second. The guy that played Doctor Manhattan in the Watchmen series that was on HBO, that was put on HBO Max, excuse me, and then apparently taken down because potentially maybe because of royalty checks from streaming since the writer strike. I don't know. It was a great series. Shout out to Regina King. She's been always great in everything she did, as far as I know. And if she ever wasn't great in something she did, probably your fault. Not you, number one, but other people's fault. Saying, you know how like other people be doing it. I will offer you this chocolate, but I'm on this side of the screen. If I had it to share in person, I get some. Unless you don't like chocolate, because ultimately, chocolate is not good for everybody. Me, I love it. Can't live without it. I'm fat. Very aware. Chocolate is part of my life. But yeah.
Right? That's how the legal system should work.
Hey, I think his lawyers did a really bad job because what they did throughout the entire case was focusing on if she was or was not hurt after the altercation. They should have also made sure they focused on, which is also crazy because I don't think there's enough evidence to prove she was injured after that altercation. Be very mindful that after that happened, she used the same hand that was bruised with, tied the back of her hair. The woman that she
like that. I don't know, like it don't sound like a domestic abuse apology vibes, but sometimes you gotta know when you're being nitpicky. You know what I'm saying? When if I'm talking about the case and I'm like, she using the same hand. She said her hand hurt, but she tied her hair in a knot. Bro, things hurt all the time. People do things, and there's a something I skipped over. At some point, Omar's telling Lo, he's like, I twisted my ankle and something or I fractured something. And I was still playing basketball, and people in the chat, I guess, must have been like, nah, when I jam my finger, it hurts right away. Jamming your finger is it, yes, but let's not forget, like, you're drunk, which she probably was. And again, I'm not even acting like she's a perfect victim. And one thing I like learning as I grow into the man I'm becoming is we gotta stop looking for the perfect victim because there isn't one. And then when we do wait for the perfect victim thing, it's kind of sad when you really think about it. Because mind you, there's a lady who sat on the bus before Rosa Parks. She was like 15 and had a baby. And apparently the NAACP was like, whoever, like, we can't jump behind her. She's not a good role model. And Rosa Parks worked for like somebody in the NAACP and in NAACP. My bad. I was about to say the NCAA. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, yeah. So like they chose the victim. You know what I'm saying? And or they chose to pick the person they personally thought was. Double check it. Sorry about that. I tracked the life. Um. Anyway. Yeah. So like, we don't need her to be the perfect victim, and we don't need Jonathan Major to be the perfect suspect. You know what I'm saying? People that we don't expect things from do things that, not to say that we should have expected, but people are multifaceted, multi-layered, blah blah. Because she went to her party and a bar or whatever afterwards, and she seemed a bit obsessive. I don't know why she was chasing a man down 8 blocks on New York Street. Yes, she looks weird. Yes, he looks suspicious. And yes, maybe he was running away for his life. Maybe he didn't and he's running away. But truth be told, and even with the racial dynamics happening in this case, as I said, it it's one of those things where it's like They pointed in that direction, and you was kind of slightly hoping, like, I hope there's like nothing behind that curtain, big dog. And it was like, you're only looking behind this curtain because of racism. Like, true, but when I move that curtain, bro, is there gonna be some incriminating evidence? And that sometimes, see, it's a sign I shouldn't say what I was about to say. I'm gonna say anyway. Sometimes racism brings just like now. Delicious. This is like some great. What's this? What's the name of this place? What is Target's brand of stuff? Favorite day. My girl. That was part of my Christmas gift. Was candy. That's how much of a child I am. But I'm lived up all the same. Yeah. I mean, like that thing of favorite day chocolate. Pretty good. I would say because I do not like other people's basic chocolate. 7-Eleven, never eat their ice cream. I know part of you was like, why would I even do it? Sometimes you're broke and you can't afford Ben and Jerry's, okay? I'm saying, stop judging me.
She tried to stop her from chasing after Jonathan Majors. With her hand, she snatched her hand away from her. She was using her hand on the railing to go up and down stairs throughout the nightclubs, using her hand to hold a cigarette, hold a drink, dig in her purse, and find that nigga's credit card and swipe it left and right on VIP tables and bottles. She used her credit. She used her hand to do that all night. And then also, this is information that we did not put in there that I learned about.
I may not understand the hand thing, but this is another thing that I want to understand when I have the conversation with Lo. I don't think anybody ever said their hand was broken but injured, right? So and maybe that's what I don't understand in this conversation is the things that people decide to stick on. And I think I do understand why people decide to stick on what they do want to stick on, but I'm just making this a point of emphasis right here. She used her hand, which all of a sudden means that it could not be injured. And I'm not even necessarily saying that Legend of Winning believes what I just said. I'm saying based off of the way that he framed it, and then people go forth with the conversation because they lack media literacy, right? They lack comprehension skills. They won't have the ability to ask those questions. They're going to go forth and say, she didn't injure her hand. Jonathan Majors never injured her hand. She used her hand for the rest of the night. Oh my God. Why do I know that? Because Legend of Winning, an agent told me that on playback. They said that on playback.
I don't know how much more I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna switch to a few other topics, or at least 2 more, and at least do like an hour and a half of streaming. You can't say I don't try, but basically, I think me and him are on the same page. There's a reason why the video was on my mind. The reason why I enjoy content. He is saying like playback, which is a pretty big entity because Agent 00, whatever the way he's known. I didn't know Agent prior to playback. I seen him like a few times. I was never big into 2K YouTube. And I don't know, the type of YouTube I was into when I was younger was like prank videos back when prank videos were really good. And people are amazing and super lucky compilations. And then by the time I started getting to streamers, your Burleezys, I mean, I used to watch that with my brother. But mostly just random videos, movie breakdowns, it's the Sunday movies, and some of these stuff I still watch it today. But as you come upon creators like him, and then you start thinking, and well, I'm not there yet, my bad. So, Agent's pretty popular. Lo has built up a very strong popularity in the sports realm and social commentary realm as well. So he's basically saying, when y'all make the content that you make, the people who look up towards you will eventually walk away spreading either, is it misnomers? I don't know. They'll leave kind of saying false narratives, or implied narratives that aren't even technically false because they hold validity. Yes, she used her hand a lot, so technically, yes, you can go how hurt can she be? She used her hand a lot. But the truth be told is, people gotta realize some of the conversations that we have, like theoretically, if a like I think we all know. What's that one guy? He has a Kira, and then it's like that lady. Name is like, what is her name? She's cute, but she's black. She be on Twitter. I'm talking about Twitter people. I don't know. I feel like her name starts with M. I don't know, but we all know there's certain people in like the Twitter universe app, I guess, who have a lot of pull in the discussion. Like when they tweet, when they share things, and how when they say things, it changes a lot. But at least theoretically, you can go as Twitter, and you know how Twitter gets. And I guess we can say the same thing with YouTube and Twitch. But some people know, like you're like we're not creating conversation. Y'all are pushing a narrative that will become repeated in conversation later by people who don't care to do the research. Because most people don't care to do research no more. I'm not even gonna act like I care to do hella research. But in high school we had a class, a mass media class, and part of that class was journalism. And in that journalism, our teacher was like, you find 3 sources. You know what I'm saying? And that logic is great logic as far as I'm concerned. It's basically all it goes is like, before you run away with it, if you can't look it up 2 different times at least, then what are we really talking about? Because if you told me that, and sometimes people have exclusive stories, that's fine. But people will eventually report on the exclusive stories. But you don't have to go like news. If you told me that in the barbershop down the street, there's free haircuts on Tuesday. Before I go in there with no money on a Tuesday expecting a haircut, I can go to their app, look it up. I can look at maybe their social media accounts, double check. I can see if it's ever been in the paper. I can ask a source of anybody who ever goes to that barbershop. I can call the barbershop themselves. It's like there's levels of research that I can do myself before I run off with a topic. And most people aren't doing that. And then to be honest, did I say that video? Because I might have to pull that joint out. People, I don't even trust people who watch the one thing anymore. Because people will look at something and I think just get it completely wrong. And I think it's because we're starting to be online a lot. And we're starting to watch people through like the lens of actual, like the lenses. We're watching people on the computer screens via their phone apps, blah, 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 blah. You know, the interconnected world of the universe, www.worldwideweb. She's so good, gotta. I'm saying, you know, last time you fingers, animal shit, and I vacuum, so I get to do this. I gotta vacuum anyway. And my point going is, as I ramble away once again, damn it, my mama always told me is that I think we're losing like the ability to like look at each other and feel humanity. Because do y'all remember? Yeah, I'm gonna say you. Do you remember? Because I'm talking to my one viewer. If you're watching on YouTube or anywhere else, you can remember too. Do you remember that video where it was like a school powing, and I don't know what I can't. And it was like a black kid and I guess a white kid named Justin saved the lives of some of the other students. The black kid lived, and like he was talking about how he called his dad because his dad's his hero. So everybody keeps playing this clip. Like he's like, "Is your father your hero, your superhero or something?" He goes, "Yeah." And then the father does this. He's like, and everybody swears up and down that they don't know what's happening in this scene. Like, it's so unserious. Black people are so unserious. He's laughing. He's like, what does he think I'm supposed to pull up in a leotard? And I'm watching this scene like, do people not know what it looks like when people break down and cry? And then, that's one. That's just like on an eye-to-eye level. Did you really forget what it looks like? Let me grab my battery real quick. I'm gonna hit play real quick too.
She went forth and she dug in her purse. Listen to how he emphasizes on certain words. I think these things are important. These things are important, knowing how Americans can't read. These things are important, knowing how people lack the ability to critically think. These things are important, knowing how people lack the ability to research. When we have the conversation, I have a couple of questions, but these things are important, right? Because when you say it like that,
Yeah. So again, number one, shout out to you. It's still here. Um, appreciate all you are. You're a star. Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays. Um, Hanukkah. Kwanzaa. What else do people celebrate? Happy Sabbath. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I apologize. Um, but basically, so I'm watching it. I'm like, this guy's obviously crying. The only weirdness, if you ask me, from that video is that, and the fact that people can't process this. Sometimes you gotta realize people are younger than the internet. At best, and this is at best, the black kid may be forced crying because I believe the black kid is sad, it's dramatic, and there's cameras in his face, and there's a part of him that might be like forcing the tears to happen. And I feel like people forget, but teenagers and kids do that a lot, where like they're dealing with trauma and they're like, oh my god, and they be like, your eyes are not wet. You know what I'm saying? Like your tears aren't tangible. But it's like, I'm not, I as an adult, someone with a higher level of emotional intelligence, I'm not looking at that kid and going, he's joking. Like, I'm looking at him and I'm like, I know that feeling where it's like, I should cry, right? I should just break down and cry. And you low-key be expecting to break down and cry. The truth be told is, maybe you're too in shock to cry. Maybe you're just sad. And the cry you do is like a little watery eye and you can't force the tears out. That's at best. Is maybe some people feel confused on the fact that it's like, it don't feel like he's crying, but he looks sad. But the mom is obviously crying, and for some reason they just think the black dad is laughing at his son's traumatic experience because, and then people are like, well, some people laugh in trauma. Some people do laugh in trauma, but that is not what's happening here. And I hate every time I come across that video online because it's like, it scares me because it reminds me that people are losing a sense of how to interact with other people, even though they think they are. Because mind you, like, this might be a big leap in logic. Catfishing, I think, only works because people are forgetting to do rational things that we rationally do and how we rationally look at each other. If I ask you to send me a picture of yourself and you go, nah, not really, or then you send me a picture that looks way too good, or way too random, and then I go, cool. The AI is only probably gonna make this worse. And I go, can I FaceTime you real quick? And you're like, nah, I'm shy. I don't like FaceTime. Cool. Can we meet up next week? Like not even like the force, the brash meetup. It's like, can I meet you sometime soon? And it's like, nah, I can't do that either. Show me a picture of you holding a fork. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you got to do all that, like, at some point, you're choosing this. But I think we live in a rational world where our internet dynamics and how we display, because mind you, have a situationship all through phones and online chatting, and people meet on Bumbles and Tinders and chicken dinners and Crispa, Chispa, Hispa, Huspa, all the dating apps, you know what I'm saying? All the things that pop up on my TikTok. I don't know tell me, but it thinks I want a W woman, a BBW white woman, www.com. It's like it thinks I want that, and not necessarily. I'm not saying on my timeline. So I'm like, sorry, doctor. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, what I'm saying is like, I'm like watching this, like, bro, really just don't understand what's going on. Like people just not understanding. And then even if I wanted to take that back, right? And I know again, I'm just talking. This was part of the pre-recorded. So when you do news, it's like called a package, right? So a package is, and you can pause it if you need to. A package is like when you're doing a story, right? You you basically get the footage you need and you cut it, edit it in a way that is serviceable in a story format, or whatever how long the news coverage is. 30 seconds, second. The news be covering stuff real quick, right? So when they're live, and even then there's supposed to be a slight delay, but they're live. When they do the thing when there's a voiceover and B-roll, then it cuts back to the person, and it goes back to B-roll, then it goes back to when they like, and he would never know what happened last night, and the person goes, so last night, like when it perfectly lined up, that's an edited video. It's called a package. It is put out there, ready to be used for the story to be told. When the news does that, as I said, it's already pre-edited. If the dad did laugh, and again, and they don't add it to the narrative, they don't talk about, well, the father seemed to be handling it a little different. Why wouldn't they just cut that part out? Like when the dad made the face before he did that thing we all think is laughing. Why wouldn't they just cut away and that was an unprofessional moment? And then people are saying, I heard the mom say, stop laughing. The mom said, hand me a tissue. I know I'm kind of just talking, but it scares me. And I think it relates to everything. I'm going to try to make it relate to everything. Hold on, let me bring it back. I got you, number one. The way that people interact online, the discourse we have to online trending topics, and the way we are using topics we're getting these topics and then just going in a circle talking about them, doing little to no research, taking everything at face value, or if not face value, just like the wrong value, like completely. I think it's very dangerous. Part of my Jody Rambles persona is that I think it's very important for everybody to be free thinkers and low key your own version of a philosopher. You know what I'm saying? And like the Philosopher's Stone, free Harry Potter. So I didn't read the books. I didn't even watch the Harry Potter. Actually, shout out Daniel Radcliffe though. I like what he's trying to do. There's a movie he played like a racist. Interesting. Um, but I like his general thing that he's going for. But my main point is this just be happening, and as he's trying to point out of his brother's the playback thing, it's like, bro, y'all Loki just be talking, and y'all say things and act like I said, just be talking like I'm not talking. Y'all say things and move about things in a manner that makes people go like, yo, let's be very, very honest, my guy. You're painting a narrative. And mind you, I don't want anyone leaving this channel thinking like I'm a Grace Jabari apologist. Like I don't really care about this woman. I just mostly want to go. I think as guys, let me just get on this point specifically, and then we might go to something else. I want to talk a little bit about JJ and the black conservative shit and call it a day. Damn, what's that? What I just say? Ew. Say why when I close my eyes I saw a big booty chick. I am doing way too much wrong in my life. Happy holidays. Shout out to you, number. Um. Anyways, I basically when I just very apologize. Go pretty bad. I don't know.
She had the ability with that same hand to go get a cigarette. We know it was a finger injury. Even if the finger was broken, Legend of Winning is a Kobe fan. It should at least be prefaced, and maybe he talks about it after this, so I'll give him the grace for that. That, yo, even if it's just a broken finger, dog, if she would have broke her whole finger, it wouldn't have mattered. You can still do things like digging your purse with a broken finger, especially if she was intoxicated.
You can actually break your finger more.
You wouldn't have been
when
feeling
it's broken because you don't know it's broken. Like you just keep
Listen, I don't have a side in this. I'm just interpreting the way that people are reporting this. Because in 2023, what I saw was mass hysteria created by media outlets, not just the playback guys, not just MTRs and night
He's
talks,
spit right now.
not just the content creators, but from those that are a step above them in the traditional sphere, from the publications and things like that, to the point where these entertainers, actors, their lawyers, the companies that they work for, their management teams are even saying, hey, we can hire the publications and pay them to put out false narratives in order to sway opinions. The academics, Tory Lanez connection in his trial.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that because, mind you, if you see me click on this video, I already watched most of it, but I didn't finish it off because it was like 2 hours 20 minutes. I probably watched maybe just the 2 hours or just slightly under 2 hours. So I didn't really watch him critique the playback thing, but he's 100% right because basically people don't account for the fact that people are. I feel like I keep saying this, blah blah, but in short, to discombobulatingly connect everything I'm saying is, I think it's important to try to have diverse conversations or closer to the right type of conversation, because what ends up happening is you don't realize people are controlling the conversation and pushing certain conversations. Exactly right. There was no reason during the Tory Lanez Meg deciding case that DJ Academics was able to just keep putting all this information out and say this and say that and this and then these reports coming out and then people say this and then say that. Like, we are having all these discussions, but the case didn't even hit court yet. Go to trial, and then in this one, people were been saying like it was gonna be dropped. They was been saying this, that. They was been saying it was about X, Y, Z. And truth be told, like, it's starting to become weird when I'm like, oh, like, I don't believe the first news reports because that's for the dummies. Like, we gotta realize a lot of people are dumb. Like, I know that sounds mean, but a lot of people take the first level of bait, and part of it is because, like I said, we don't have the right type of conversation. Like, there's no reason why I know that when Say Cheese posts a thing that news is shitty and should be not interpreted unless it's like the bare minimum. If Say Cheese says Obama fell down steps, I'm probably gonna say probably so. You know, it's so generic and random. That sounds like something. But even then, as I said, my 3 sources shit that I got from my teacher, I would say shout out to that teacher, but I think she embezzled a school year. To be honest, I didn't buy it, so I didn't get ripped off. So I don't take no care in it. But they definitely sent like a memo out, not getting your book, and then yada 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 yada. And apparently she was acting funny on a little senior trip, which I also didn't go. You know, um, and if number one, if you are in high school now, I was late, and if not, second way, um, you'll manage. You know what I'm saying? That's all I advise. I think it ends. It's like, no. Oh, it doesn't. If you high school's lasts forever. That's it. Um, but yeah, like sometimes I'm scrolling past stuff and I see the Say Cheese. Like, okay, World Star says it. Now again, these pages aren't the most trustworthy. But I'm like, that's two. And then I don't know, somebody else be like, Obama, something. At some point, I might Google it. I might do whatever. I might watch a little video on it. I might go to TikTok to see what TikTok is saying. And at some point, I'll get together a form of news to be like, it seems to be fairly verified. I'm still won't make a harsh opinion based on the topic just yet because, who am I not even who am I? Like, even if I have an opinion, I'm not bolstering my opinion. And it's like so many people thought this case was over like a week after it happened. Like, case to be dismissed. And I'm like, you don't realize it's probably like Marvel. It's probably that Marvel money that, hey man, we Yeah, the franchise dynasty. Because mind you, so I don't know how fame works, but I think when you reach the Jonathan Majors level, what happens is you do movies, you look really well, you become like a real '60s man, and then Marvel's like, give me that guy right now. And hopefully, I feel like, am I cutting it out? Um, they're just like, some give me that guy in my movies, and they don't do the background research and blah blah blah. They just go, he seems to be a well-to-do, educated man. Make him king. Make him king and conqueror. And then, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
And if we can't understand how to research for our own, if we do care about these things, because like I continue to say, once this is done, you will not be watching this. It will not matter. Eventually, you will have access to all of everything, the transcripts and everything from this case. And I can guarantee you, people are not going to go unearth those transcripts, read them verbatim, look at everything like that, poll the jury. They're not going to do any of that stuff because they don't care to do that stuff. They'll get their video off. It'll be a whatever out of whatever. They'll get their conversation off at the water cooler. It'll be a whatever out of whatever, and they'll just keep it pushing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
He tried to countersue her, but the judge said, no, we're not going to allow it.
So if I grab Lowe's phone and this nigga's like, give me
The judge didn't decide. Jonathan, she did go get arrested. Jonathan Majors tried to put out a counter domestic, counter DV complaint out on
Why do
the
people
woman,
be so big on like
Grace
people's
Jabari.
weight on the internet? Don't get me wrong,
so
I get
then
interested in that too.
he,
But like, y'all pushing it
presented his
sometimes.
claim, presented
Like,
his
sometimes
evidence,
people
or
are
whatever
fat,
the case may
and
be.
sometimes people are losing
What
weight.
happens in those situations
like,
is
running.
they look at it, and
That's
they
a
say,
whole nother thing, real quick. Side tangent. I know y'all weird. Not you, number one. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all TikTok search bar thing under videos showing like how thirsty y'all are. It'd be like, hey man, yesterday when I fell downstairs, and then the trip be like, so and so falls downstairs. And it's like, bro, I want you to be honest real quick. You think I recorded myself falling downstairs? like it really just be like, why are you waiting on my downfall? Pun intended. But it's like on some real talk. It's like people will be like, yesterday I was at the waxing place, and they'll be like, so and so waxing place. There's not video of that, dog. You're thirsty right now. Calm down, chill out. You know what I'm saying? Not there. Not everything is recorded.
themselves, can we get a conviction based off of what we have? And they said no. Ultimately, they said no. Based off of what they had, they said no. Now, we can investigate why they did that. The judge didn't throw anything out. They just decided that they didn't have enough evidence for that. And there could be a plethora of reasons. There could be a myriad of reasons as to why they would do such a thing. But I want to be clear.
my phone back.
And
He
takes
assaulted
it.
me and I did nothing wrong. First of all, there's a lot wrong with this situation here. It's obvious the bias in the court system. We don't even have to fucking beat that horse till it. The reality is Marvel dropped him. I'm sure.
Yeah, and then also the result.
And what Agent and Lowe just did again is why I have problems with the way that we talk about these things, is because it is blanketed in highly divisive conversation about serious topics. And again, I think that, we can have some conversations as men and women, as women and women, about how unethical, about how, predatory prejudice or whatever the case may be when it comes to not Jonathan Majors, but just the legal system in general. But what I think is a more productive conversation is doing so in a non-hyperbolic way, as to not paint blanketed statements based off of one-off situations. And mind you, if they presented more, we could have different conversations. But the way that they present conversations is ultimately what I have a problem with, not just from them, but from everybody who covers these things. Again, these are serious topics that we're talking about. And for you to just paint them with this big brush, it's clear. This right here makes it clear. This makes it clear right here. This is clear. The brush, it's stroked. It's now clear.
Oh,
this one thing, blanket statement. Courts don't care about men. Women don't care about men. They're against you. It's those type of hyperbolic blanketed statements that further continue the divide. Now, mind you, in day-to-day life, I don't think people actually believe a lot of these things and go about the practices of living their lives that way, for real, just live their lives or whatever. But it's just dangerous to think that way based off of blanketed statements, based off of one-off events. Cardiac, there's a word for it. Fear-mongering.
Yeah.
This is fear-mongering. And if it went in the reverse of any other situation, people would believe that it's wrong. Well, hold on now. I don't think that women and men, and I don't think it's right either way. I don't think that men are against women because of this one-off situation. We think it's wrong when the people on the opposite side do it. We think that it's wrong when people on the opposite side of our bias do it. Not a side that I stand on, but just anybody in general. Hey, when you make those blanket statements over there, let's add context and conversation, and then let's treat this as a one-off, which you should. All situations are created equal. Things should be taken as one-offs.
Yeah.
But literally, to paint blanketed statements off of one-off events, that's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Marvel is too PG of a brand to the space of this type of allegation.
I agree with that.
Guilty, boom, he's getting back. But he loses out on all the momentum he's built with Creed, all of the Marvel movies. He loses out on all of that momentum because of an instant. It seems as though
Biso said, "Is O Block like that?" Biso, I'm not leaving 2024 without a band.
There's a lot more. I think you want to finish the rest of that video. You definitely can. But me personally, I think that's about what I wanted to watch from that. And now I'm going to finish it off of reacting.
It will be times where she'll leave the game and be like, "Ah, babe, you just look a little slow today." I'm like, "Girl, be quiet." Like, what are, like, but when she did that, it made me, have to work on myself.
If there's anything that I learned about this whole entire ordeal is how important it is to keep your personal matters to yourself.
Facts.
How important it is to keep it off the internet. Back with the man, I'm way too.
We kind of already discussed that. Keep your relationship private. Not too. What am I am looking for. See on your phone, it says individual already put together topics chat.
Simone Biles can be honored at the White House with the presidential.
Okay, no, we're not. See, I'm tired of that discourse. You too, people acting like, well, a white man give a report. Olympian. Stuff like that was.
This is 17-year-old Jonathan Lewis. He has a younger friend. That younger friend was stolen from and thrown into a trash can by a group of 15 boys. So he stood up for his younger friend, and the 15 boys beat him to death for it. My question would be for the media that's barely covered this at all. Why aren't y'all calling this a hate crime?
Ooh, keep that same energy when the next person is black.
They do. They riot, they loot, they burn. But look at us. We're going about it the right way. We're getting justice the right way.
Oh, this guy named Jonathan Lewis.
Let me play a little bit more.
A bunch of basketball Americans.
I caught his ass. So this is JJ, aka Jay Williams, Jay whatever. I don't know. Jonathan Williams. What's his name?
What I'm saying is,
What has happened to the?
No. Oh, come back.
This is
Jay Williams, aka Jay. This guy, he's like, it says it, So basically, he's one of the better TikTokers out here. I think he's well read, well spoken, and can basically debate and ether most people in the red pill, black conservative sphere, propagating basically misinformation, making bad points on TikTok, be doing whatever. What I want to talk about is in that video. In this video,
This is 17.
they're talking about a white kid that got jumped and beat by. He's gonna say a bunch of retorts today, but what I want to point out is this guy. I think his name is what's his name? I think he used to have a different name. Maybe he had a remake a profile, but him, maybe that is because one of them I don't pay attention to. He's the scar on his face. They do this thing where him and all three of the black guys that played, none of them were JJ. Where they take the side of white people, and he does this thing like, where as black people we're not being held accountable. Like that's mostly like his anger. Like y'all fall for this, but not for this. Come on, bro. Like really realize. Like I don't know, and I might be tripping, and this gonna sound partially ignorant, but like he don't look like the type of black guy that gets the white, like you're cool for the white people treatment. I don't even know why he's on it. This he gives me pure grifting vibes because I don't think he's invited to the picnic. I don't know. Like he doesn't give me invited to the picnic vibes. I feel like he's just doing it off some like self-hate, something blah blah blah. I don't know. I really don't like him.
17-year-old Jonathan Lewis. He has a younger friend. That younger friend was stolen from and thrown. Question would be for the media. That's barely covered this at all.
I'm mad at is this guy. This man, he's been, what's his name? Wolf Facts. Hold up. Wolf Hat Facts. I'm sorry, I gotta get close to the screen. Wolf Hat Facts. Fucking losers. This guy, I've seen him a few times. Pander. Need to be Panda Hat Facts because he panders to white people. But the thing that gets me, he said we're going about it the right way. Look at us. We're going about, who is us? Because in his words, right?
They loot, they burn, but look at us.
Same energy when the next person is black.
They do. They riot, they loot, they
Black.
They do.
Keep that same energy when the next person is.
In this, a hate crime.
Ooh, keep that same energy when the next person is black.
They do. They riot, they loot, they burn, but look at us. We're going about it the right way.
They, right? They as in the opposition. Those opposite to him. They as in black people. So somehow this black guy with a hat on is them. And we're they. Shout out to the pronouns in them building. They, or no, them. I'm messing up my own examples. This guy, this fucking loser. And I'm gonna call him a loser. All three of them are losers, not JJ. Because who is they and us and we? You are black. We're both black. Black people don't ride in the streets. Black people, like all people, are individuals. We're not a monolith. The only thing black people do, and I think the only thing that's a black people's responsibility to each other in America, and maybe worldwide, is to understand the mistreatment and propagated racism and racial structures that are built and put in place in the world. That means that we may have to work on solidarity more than the next man in order to make it forward. That little bit of truth means that theoretically, somewhere in the bigger picture, we can't just do whatever we want at all times. We can, but when we choose to do whatever we want, sometimes we're not servicing our own good, our own greater good. That's the only thing we probably technically owe each other is the lookout. You know what I'm saying? In a messed up metaphor, situational, and on the slave plantation, I would assume that we could be from different tribes and blah 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 and blah blah blah. That You would not do anything to my detriment, nor should I do anything to your detriment. And whatever I eat don't make you shit. But at the same time, if I needed to eat because I'm not shitting, you would feed me. You know, it's not the greatest metaphor. I'm trying. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to number one in the building. You matter the most. You alone are the individual. You know what I'm saying? Are the one. No matter who else comes in here. First and foremost. It's like, no one can take that away from you, being you're like the number one hero. You know what I'm saying? Look a little all-mightish. Look like Deku. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, but my point is, who the fuck is this guy talking to, right? And when you're watching this, you're like, you chose a side. This is the same guy who was like, if I remember correctly, he's like anti-January 6th stuff, anti-blah, blah, blah. Anti, like, in the sense of like, we did this and we can't do that and this and that and it's not fair when y'all do. And it's like, we don't really riot, we protest, and then occasionally riots. And even then, if we're gonna be honest, the riots, like the police started most of them. Anyone that wasn't started, there's always going to be people who misuse a cause to do individual things. You'll blame the group, and somehow y'all get to not blame the group, but we get blamed as a group. I don't even say fine, whatever, because it's not fine and it's not whatever, but it happens, so to say, right? But when y'all police do stuff, it's one bag egg. You know what I'm saying? When y'all political people are messed up, oh, it's not the bills that they passed or the things that he was doing that was also wrong. He was a bad racist person. We don't condemn the act of this individual. But if I go outside with 100 other people I do not know, because as far as I'm concerned, people saying Black Lives Matter, and then somebody somewhere throws a water bottle, we are riding. And I don't even want to talk about how I literally was eating somewhere, and they had a Black Lives Matter protest walk by, and then this one white kid was just kicking over trash cans at the end, like the tail end. Like, you would have assumed he wasn't even with them. He's just kicking over trash cans. And it was like, this guy's not really with them. He just wants an adrenaline rush, you know. Or maybe it is fuck the establishment. But kicking the trash can of individual businesses, like the black people were eating. In pun intended, because I was eating. I was actually not being a great black person. I was hungry. I was eating, and they was like, y'all can sit here and eat, but Black Lives Matter. And I was like, I know Black Lives Matter, so I get to eat as far as I'm concerned. But whatever. And then this little white kid is just going around kicking the trash cans. Like, after they walk past, it's like, establishment. I'm like, you're just out past curfew. So this guy, I don't know what he's talking about. And then white people love to act like they get mistreatment, but go about it the right way to get the treatment they do. When truth be told, they get majority of the treatment in general. And two, they're not dealing with what we're dealing with. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying not bad things happen to white people. Not my point at all. But when who died? I'm not trying to say, I forget the white boy name. It was a messed up story. This like white 5-year-old kid was like, black guy walked up on him and shot him and stabbed him, and it was like messed up. It was like really crappy. And then somebody was like, justice for so and so, you know. And again, sorry to the kid, rest in peace. And I'm looking at it, and people are like talking about like how everyone cares about George Floyd, but no one cares about this. This is like prime George Floyd time. So I'm looking at the article. First of all, I'm not even looking at the article because the picture has the person he's talking about in a mugshot, right? So I'm like, okay, what are we talking about here? I click on it. The dude was already found guilty and tried in front of a jury, and they were yelling justice. See, that's how you know, like, white people don't want black people to have things, because when we say justice for so and so, it's because there was no justice. They say justice for so and so because they think that we somehow got special privilege justice over here that they didn't get, and they're trying to see what it looks like when if they can have what we get, even though we not getting nothing. When we go justice for so and so, even if the person's in, we might go justice for someone that's in jail. They shouldn't be in jail. Or we go justice for someone because someone is dead and the people who are responsible are not even close to smelling jail. The person that did the attack put in jail, found guilty. People been condemning this guy's actions, blah blah blah, and justice for Caden. People forget to care about white kids. Everybody wants to care about a drug addict black guy. It's like my nigga. Like, nah, I'm sorry, but yeah, like, bro, you don't get no pussy. Say that, bro. You're doing too much for too little. So fuck this guy.
We're getting justice the right way.
Oh, this guy named Jonathan Lewis got
And
jumped
then
by
whoever the fuck this guy is, I don't even know what this guy's do. But basketball Americans, you're black, bro. That's so corny. I know you're just trying to fuck white girls in your school.
a bunch of basketball Americans at school, and most big news companies haven't even mentioned it. So yeah, that goes to show you the hierarchy of what the news will talk about and what they won't.
So I've been gone for about 2 months now. A lot of that has been due to stuff going on in my personal life and pressures and stress from school. But I've also been putting a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that the first thing I came back and talked about what's going on in Israel and Palestine. And while I am fully of the opinion that the Palestinian people should have the right to determine their own future away from Israeli influence, and that Israel defending itself is not the same thing as killing over 10 times the amount of people that were killed on the October 7th terrorist attack already, whilst dropping over 6,000 bombs in 6 days, on a population center in which half of them are children, all for the unobtainable goal of completely eradicating a terrorist group, possible considering the ideologies underpinning it are going to be strengthened if people keep settling and bombing and all types of bullshit. I am not as fully educated and ready enough to talk to you guys at length about the topic as I would want to be. I've been spending a lot of time learning more and more about the history, and so when I am ready to talk to you guys about it fully, I will do. Jonathan Lewis was a 17-year-old high school student, beaten and killed by 15 at his school, tried to get something back that stolen from friends. Shortly after his death, and despite his father, who spoke to the media, not making any single insinuation about anything having to do with race, conservative media, ever being the critics of people who invoked the race card and tried to use it as proof of anti-white bias, seeing as
I almost can guarantee you if it was a bunch of white guys beating on a black guy, the whole world would know about this incident. But since it's a white guy, it just gets blown undercover pretty much.
Now let's peel back the sheer stupidity and woeful ignorance present in all of these talking points, beginning with the timeline of events.
It happened on November 1st, and it is now November 15th. And we're barely hearing shit about it.
This is the first component of the argument, and this really sets up the rest of it. Because if they
mind you, and I hit my hour 30-minute mark. You're the number one person in the world. Maybe you left it, because there will never be. Anyway, mind you, right? Mind you, how many times have you been on TikTok? And I'm just gonna say TikTok, and you scrolled past, saw some wild police, someone should get sued, mess, cop does too much, car hits other car, lawsuit incoming video, right? And then you find out that shit happened like last August. And then you start looking up and it's like, oh yeah, the case is about to happen now. And he's like, it happened the 1st and it's the 15th and we're just now hearing about it. You're already on good tracking, if we're gonna be honest. Because who tells you what becomes news? Because if you don't live in that state, why would that be news? If you don't live in that town, that might not be news. Because I'm willing to bet people in fucking Nebraska have no idea what the fuck happened in my area. You know what I'm saying? A couple weeks ago type shit. So I don't like when niggas be acting like, it's the 15th. First of all, if he's getting coverage in any form of national level, he doing alright. He doing better than me.
Established that something bad happened to somebody that would get national news coverage if it happened to a black person. It's not getting coverage right now. The only thing that's different must be because of a white person. So it begins to fall apart if you start asking, did it get national news coverage? So I went all the way back in the timeline. The very first news article at all talking about this situation was posted November 9th, 2023. The actual attack that resulted in his death happened on November 1st, and he passed away on November 7th. 3 days later, the not reputable but more known New York Post picks up on the story. That same day, Fox News, not reputable but very known, picks up on the story. 2 days after that, USA Today picks up on the story. 1 day after that, it was in the New York Times. That same day, Yahoo News posted via The Independent. Also November 15th, that same day, Reuters picks up on the story, breaking at the time that 8 teenagers had been arrested for the killing of John. That same day, the Associated Press picks up on the story. And the next day, CNN picks up on the story. So just as a recap, Jonathan Lewis was attacked on the 1st, passed away on the 7th, his father went to the media on the 9th, and then within a week of his father talking to the media, all different types of news outlets, including the New York Times, CNN, and USA Today, all reported on what happened.
A1 coverage.
How in the fuck is this not national news coverage? Now let's move to level 2, that being historical context. Even if I accept the premise that
the hypocrisy is astounding, because if this was 15 white boys brutally beating a single black boy to death, there'd already be marches in the streets, and Joe Biden would have been sent that family flowers.
Have any of you earnestly stopped to ask yourself why that is? Is it hypocrisy and we just don't care about white people no more? Or is it because the status of race relations is not, nor has it ever been, determined by black people? As a way to further illustrate what I'm talking about, let's talk about the past, which I know y'all fucking hate. If we can see, let's just say 200 years of history, even though it's longer than that, where unfathomable acts of violence, similar to and worse than what happened to Jonathan Lewis, perpetuated against one demographic of people, specifically because of the color of that demographic of people, then of course in modern day when you see similar things happen, especially with the added context that it's often perpetuated by a police officer, which is where you got rioting from.
They riot, they loot, they burn.
Of course, one would expect a deeper reaction out of it. If we think about this honestly, it's not because of any hypocrisy or any lack of value of the life of people like Jonathan Lewis or white people in general. It's because this is a formula that has repeated itself over and over, with the explicit reasoning being that it was because of the skin color of an individual. So when the similar formula rears its ugly head again, people are going to make the assumption that it has something to do with race, even if we find out later that it doesn't, which is what you hinted at when you brought up the Montgomery boat incident.
Look at the very popular Montgomery brawl. That black man was getting jumped by those racist white men, even though we can't prove that they were actually racist. And then all of those other black men jumped in. Yeah.
First of all, why do I have to prove that they were racist? I can prove that they were jumping the guy. And then second of all, what if I want to be in solidarity with somebody? Is that bad? Is it bad to go, he getting jumped, he black, I don't think he need to be getting jumped, and I go over there? Is that so wrong?
Yeah, black power, black excellence. You would never see that with this.
Now, while on the ground, there are conflicting stories about people that are hearing white people say, get those N-words or whatever, and the police not being able to find any concrete evidence that it was racially motivated. Are you so ignorant of history and so ignorant of context that you're unironically asking why people would invoke race in a situation where white people jumped a black person?
And again, I'm probably gonna, because I'm starting to get tired. People act like race has to be said out loud for things to be racist. Like, but forget microaggressions and all that extra stuff. Sometimes, like, because mind you, the Montgomery Brawl thing, right? The black guy works there at the dock, and there's a boat coming that needs to line up with the pier, dock, boat, whatever ocean terms are, starburst, left burst, upburst, most burst, floaty, floaty, float. You know what I'm saying? All the words, all the captain, my captain, all those. All right, recipes, working with all that stuff, right? He's like, yeah, I can't park here. The ferry thing is pulling up, and they're like, he was alone, and it's like, nah, I'm gonna need you to back up. That this ferry thing is definitely gonna need to park here, just real quick. And they're just like, who the fuck are you? And then they get all white boy fratty on them and try to whatever. And again, whether you believe it's racist, that's how I know people be sitting at the wrong tables in the lunch breaks. I know who come to the cookout, who don't. And stop inviting white people to the cookout. That's not how it works. You don't get to invite nobody to the cookout. First of all, in real life, you don't get to invite nobody to a cookout anyway. If it's not your cookout, you don't just get to invite random niggas to the cookout. If someone said, I'm having a cookout on 10th Street, meet me. And then like, everybody like this, meet me. You don't get to go to work and tell Todd, who knows how to do the Dougie, that he can come through. That's not how that works. Well, he's invited to the cookout. No, you're not. It's our thing. What you know? What? Sometimes we want to do our own thing. You know who's dope? Tina Marie. Can you invited to the cookout? No. Can you bring her a plate back? Hey man, you do with your plate. You want to do with your plate. You know what I'm saying? Recipes to Tina Marie. Square biz. You don't know nothing about that. I barely know about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of, but mind you, he threw his hat up, right? And Montgomery Brawl guy. After he's asked him to move, they asked him about the jumper. Takes his hat off. He throws it up in the sky as a signal. You know why? Because he knew it was black. And you know why? We knew it was black. And you know what those black people knew? They should have known it was black because they got their ass handed to them because people was like, nah, not today. Not now. Not like this. Not no more. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever.
Wasn't doing anything and beat him up in Montgomery, Alabama, in the United States, of all places. You genuinely believe that that question could be asked in one scenario, not in the Jonathan Lewis scenario, not because of all of the historical context, but because of some perceived hypocrisy? If you wanted a society where either A, the same question of hate crime or not could be applied to white or black people equally, or B, no question of race would be risen at all, then maybe we shouldn't have had an entire history that weaponized the concept of race specifically against black people that caused people to ask that question only when it's a scenario in which a minority is involved. You guys just feign ignorance as if none of that shit matters or exists to you. But let's move to the final level, level 3. Are any of these people even fucking correct about their analysis? And that's where it gets funny, because it's not just the history that causes us to ask this question, the shit still happens today. Turns out that the worst month for anti-black hate crimes since the FBI started recording it in 1991 was June 2020, in the middle of the burning and rioting and looting that you guys complain about, which means that even when it was known and black people were making a fuss about it, still didn't stop it from happening. The last highest level of anti-black hate crimes happened to be 2008, the year that Barack Obama was elected. Even after electing the first black president, still didn't stop it from happening. And today, black people are still the top targets of hate. So yes, if the races were reversed in the same scenario, the reason why people would question as to whether or not it was a hate crime is because that's a perfectly normal question to ask, considering the history and current day of the United States. You invoked looting and rioting as if to call back to the 2020 protests, but let's not let high-profile instances distract you from what's going on. The repeated instances of police killing unarmed black people that year created a unique set of circumstances. When we look at homicides as a whole and how it's reported in the media for black people as opposed to white people, according to this study, this is just the tip of
Alright, but I'm gonna wrap it up because I'm even tired. And it's Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. But you get this sentiment, and hopefully, if you took anything from today's ramble, is do your own research and understand the importance of having proper discourse about the things that's happening in your real life and on the internet. You know, think deeper than the surface, reanalyze, reinterpret, and then add to the conversation if it's worth adding to. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. It's more important for you to know that you don't want to talk about something and then go forward and to pretend that you want to talk about it and say nothing, or to talk about it when you do want to talk about it and still not know nothing. Because at some point, it's on you to do what's best for you. With that being said, I want to thank the content of JJ, the content of Christian Divine, the content of ohmeezy, and Playbacks Low. Tonight, I want to thank my number 1 viewer today. Shout out to you. Get some sleep. You know what I'm saying? Stay up. Maybe you're doing a late night shift. Maybe you were never really here. Maybe it's all in my mind. I want you to have a great day. I myself am going to go to sleep. And yeah, again, the point: have proper discourse. Add to the conversation. Be better than you were the day before yesterday. Peace. So.